check my units, inches, and then squared because again we're multiplying 2 dimensions. All right. We also need to do some conversions today. Those go with our measurement unit. You'll notice here I wrote the words gallon man, but I didn't put gallon man because I thought we could draw our gallon man together. Remember, gallon man starts with that super G for the gallon. So I'm going to draw a big G. Inside, the next smallest unit are those quarts. So inside a gallon will be 4 quarts. The next smallest unit when we're talking about capacity is pints. So inside our gallon man are going to be 2 P's inside each quart. And if you hear some panting right now, Max decided to join us. He wants to learn some math, apparently. Inside the pint, the next smallest is going to be those C's. I know those are really hard to draw. Just do your best. And then one thing I want to point out is 1 cup. Does anyone remember how many ounces? 1 cup equals 16 ounces. All right, so we have our gallon man, we have our units of length anchor chart, we have our metric units, we have our time units. Golden rule of conversions. You've heard me say this a million times. You've got to remember these golden rules. If you're going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, we're always going to multiply. And if you're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, that's where that division comes in. So let's apply this. First one says cups to gallons. And you'll notice there's some extra cups because we might have a remainder. Excuse me, I have the hiccups, guys. So, cups to gallons. 9 cups equals how many gallons? So the first thing we're going to do, and if you need to scroll up, go ahead. We need to see how many little C's are in that gallon. So I'm going to count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So 16 cups equals 1 gallon. Tricky question, huh, guys? Some of you are probably sitting there scratching your head like, well, Mrs. Clary, if 16 cups equals 1 gallon and I only have 9 cups, can I have a gallon? Correct answer is no, guys. You know how I like to trick you? Keep you on your toes? The answer to this problem is if you don't have 16 cups, you have 0 gallons. And that means you have 9 cups left. I know, tricky one, guys. But I know you can do that, and I keep on challenging you. All right, feet to inches. Let's go check our conversion here. I see 1 foot is 12 inches. So I'm going to go write that down. Remember, always find your conversion first. 1 foot equals 12 inches. All right, let's think about this. Feet to inches. Are feet bigger than inches or smaller? Hopefully you said bigger, which means we're going big to small, which means we're going to multiply. So we need to take that 12 times 8. And I get 96 inches. So 8 feet is equivalent or equal to 96 inches. All right. Hours, we're going to convert to days. And maybe we'll have a remainder of hours left. So first things first, I need that conversion. How many hours are in a day? Hopefully you said, Mrs. Clary, 1 day is equal to 24 hours. You would be correct. I'm going to shrink that down a little bit so we have some workspace. Stick it up here. Okay? So we're going from hours to days. Are hours bigger or smaller than days? Hopefully you said smaller. So that means small to big, which means division. So I'm going to take those 32 hours, divide by 24 hours in a day. Now the skip counting here is a little tricky, but you can always do scratch math on the side. I know if I have two 24s, I'm doing over here on the side, that's 48. So I already know that if I have 32, I can only get 1. And I subtract, and I have 8 left over. So what this tells me is 32 hours is equivalent to 1 day, and I'll have 8 hours left over. All right, quarts to pints. Again, if you need to, scroll up. How many P's do you see inside one of those Q's? So I'm focusing in right here. I notice when I see that Q, there are 2 P's in it. So that tells me that there are 2 pints in every quart. So write my conversion down. 2 pints equals 1 quart. Ask yourself, quarts to pints, big to small or small to big? Are quarts bigger than pints or smaller? Think about your gallon man. Was that Q bigger or smaller than the P? You're right, he was bigger. So I'm going big to small, which means I'm going to be multiplying. So I need to take that 12 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And I have 24 pints. So that's what you're going to be working on today, guys. You're going to be doing some measurement. That entails area and perimeter of squares and rectangles, area and perimeter of those complex shapes that are made up of squares and rectangles, and then you're going to top it all off with some conversions. Again, you can rewatch this video. You can pause it if you need to. Also, I will be available via Canvas message, email if you need any help. Don't forget those help sessions. Miss Ellen's link to the help session is in Canvas at 10 o'clock. If you are still struggling and want to work with Miss Ellen, jump on that Zoom at 10. She's available. 2 o'clock is when Mrs. Clary will be available to help you if you need help with missing work or today's math. And then don't forget, 12 o'clock today, our class Zoom. We are going to be recognizing Mr. Lugo and Miss G with a special sign or a thank you. And we're going to hold those up during the Zoom, and they're going to visit us. All right, guys? Keep being awesome. Do your best on this math. If you have questions, let me know.